So good evening to all. Now we are in fourth session of first day conference. On behalf of BASE, I take privilege to introduce the chair of session 4, Washim Sajjad. Washim Sajjad is an assistant professor in the Department of English at the Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. He submitted his PhD at the Department of English, Himachal Pradesh University. He has shown a keen interest in literature and research and has been a part of research community for last 7 years. He has worked on Dalit literature, which is still a very sensitive part of our Indian society. Washim Sajjad has now been working on disability studies, a topic which has not yet been touched upon much in the Indian perspective. We look forward to our continued exploration of ideas and perspectives in the session to come. Over to you, sir. Please unmute yourself, sir. You are muted. No, you are not audible. You just unmute yourself first. Your mic is mute still now.
Am I audible now?
Yes, now you're audible.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for inviting me for this, chairing this session. So, my name is Washim Sajjad, as ma'am has already introduced me, so I did not introduce myself again. So, I will be chairing the session 4. So, for this session, we have 3 papers. So, here, the first paper is Empowered Voice, the Freedom Struggle of Muslim Women in Colonial Bengal. It will be presented by Hilal Ahmad, Tantray. The second one is Reshaping Muslim Identity in Colonial Era in Bapsi Sadhu's Pakistani Bride. It is by Shamem Banu. The third paper written by 2 participants. The title of the paper is Legacy of Bengali Muslim Educational Reform. It is by Faiza, Rizwan and Ankush. Both are from Jamia Millia Islamia University. So let me instruct you first. So each of the participants will be given 15 minutes and for the presentation. So the presentation will be one by one, and at the end of the session we will have question answer session. So let's begin with the first one. So I am inviting to present the paper titled Empowered Voices, the Freedom Struggle of Muslim Women in Colonial Bengal by Hilal Ahmed Tantray. So I would like to welcome Hilal to present his paper. Please welcome him. Hello, is Hilal Ahmed here?
I don't know about him, sir. I am the student of Darul Islamic University. My phone is going to die, so I want to present first this. Hello.
Hello.
Sir. I'm the PG student of Darul Islamic University. So I want to present, sir, firstly.
Wait a minute, because we are going session by session. So for this session, that we are calling Hilal Ahmed. If he present here now?
Don't know, sir.
Hilal, please join us. Are you there, Hilal?
Sorry, just join.
Hello, Hilal Ahmed.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible, sir?
You are audible. Would you like to present your paper?
Yes, yes, sure, sure, sir.
So
Shall I
as
start?
I just introduced you, you are not there. So let's start with your paper. We are welcoming
Thank
you
you.
to present.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
A very good afternoon to everyone. My name is Hilal Ahmad, resource scholar, Department of History, Jamia Millia Islamia. Before wasting your precious time, I would move to directly to my topic. So my topic is Empowered Voices, the freedom struggle of Muslim women in colonial Bengal. In Indian history, women have achieved a great status. Female freedom fighters of India have been an eminent and integral part of Indian history. The history of Indian freedom struggle would be incomplete without highlighting the contribution of women. During the colonial era, female freedom fighters from Bengal played a critical role in the Indian campaign for freedom, independence. These strong women actively engaged in various activities of resistance against British rule. They made significant contribution to a variety of endeavors, including political activities, advisory, and underground movement. The Muslim women freedom fighter contribute their life to country freedom and will forgive be a part of our Indian history. The struggle for independence in Bengal, India during the mid 20th century was marked by the played a pivotal yet often look over role in shaping the course of history. As the Indian subcontinent sought liberation for British colonial rule, these women faced a dual challenge, not only combating internal oppression but also challenging deeply attached society norms that resisted their agency. Bengal movement found themselves as an interaction of religious and gender-based marginalization. Yet these commitments to the cause of independence remained unwavering. Many women became strong leaders, organizers, and participants in the nationalist movement. In spite of the orthodox social system that kept them in traditional position, their contributions spanned from political advisory to grassroots mobilizing enabled them a break free from stealing and make their voices heard. Patriotism and nationalism have no gender, caste, color, or religion. It is a value to asset our identity and love our country, which is as much our as it is of every fellow citizen that dares to question injustice. When we go by this factual knowledge, the contribution of women in India's freedom movement was no way to less than men. Women in history are rare given the recognition they deserve, which is why they are inculcated must be highlighted now. However, most texts of Indian history did not mention many women independence warriors who were regarded as a war harbiangers of change and endorsement of women's strength. Many names of these bold reactions that have lost, and the list is particularly short on Muslim women's liberation fighters. Historians have completely neglected the role of contribution of Muslim women in the fight of independence and later movement, despite the fact that they fought vastly and suffered greatly. In point of fact, the woman movement firstly was organized in the even of 19th century and again it took place after 100 years in the second decade of 20th century. In the first half of 20th century, Indian deployed revolutionary activities from resistance, and this method was overwhelmed, manipulated by both men and women folk of Bengal. In this period, Muslim women were not behind. They contributed to this kind of struggle either through hiding revolution or through funding or through acting as messenger. Muslim women played a significant but also took role in the freedom struggle of colonial Bengal. Many activities participated in the protest giant political movement and contribution to the social education lifts of their committees. History of the national movement would be incomplete without the mentioning of prominent figures like Razia Khatun, Halima Khatun, Shamsun Nisa Begum, Razia Banu Begum, a wife of Asif Ali Beg of Deccan, Badrunnisa Begum, wife of Akhtaruddin Hussain of Deccan, Begum Ruqayya, Sakawat Hussain, Shaista, Ikramullah, and many more. All these women participate in different all the political movement for the partition of Bengal to the partition of India. with Congress banners in their hand. They were imprisoned, fined, and lathi charged and suffered for a cost. Their life story itself in a part of national movement which cannot be denied at all. The collection of work of Gandhi speak their magnificent contribution to Indian struggle for freedom. Several monographs in Santonami Roy, Indian Freedom, Indian Movement and Muslim Struggle, or P.N. Chopra, Indian Struggle for Independence, and Kant Chaube's Muslim and Freedom Movement in India, and few regional studies like Role of Muslims in National Movement by M.D. Muzaffar Imam and Hussain Imam's India's National Movement. Regarding the role of India, Muslim have been published, but the subject is very wide and need a comprehensive study. Bengali Muslim women's integral role in the Indian history in Indian national movement. Women aware grew around the end of the 19th century as a result when Bengal was participated in 1905. The achievement of Bengal women was no less significant in the unforeseen response for the Swadeshi movement and in outside Bengal. The Swadeshi movement benefit immensely from the breaking of women communities in its eagerly stage. They then gathered their respective home and village and pledged to support local products while while avoiding the taxes. This social cause grants them the right to participate in the national movement. Now I want to conclude my talk. In conclusion, women have played a significant element under participated part in our nation's history. Thousands of women have done it well. For talking of warmth, the pen, and the power of protest against British occupiers. The critical involvement of women, Muslim women in colonial Bengal freedom struggle demonstrated their underlying dedication to their independence. These women defied stereotypes by dispelling preventions and their advices that constitute social acceptance. They made major contribution to the rich fabric of fight against colonial rule. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilal.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for presenting such an insightful paper. So you
Thank you,
know
sir.
that at the present moment, the nationalism, especially and represented not by the Muslim leadership,
Yes, sir.
are not accounted as for the ideal nationalism, especially in case of India. But and when it comes for women, and they are totally empty from the scenario, they are completely absent
Exactly.
about their leadership. So you
Exactly.
have highlighted several women and their contribution to the Muslim leadership, Muslim women leadership, and their contribution to the nationalism. It's a very good paper, and thank you. And wait for the last till the last of the session. We will have question answer session. So
Thank you, sir.
the other
Sure.
participant as well as a moderator, I may also ask question. So please
Yes,
be
sir.
there.
Sure.
So for
Sure,
the
sure.
question answer session.
Sure,
Okay.
sir.
So the next participant is uh, Shamem Banu. She is a research scholar, Alagappa University. The title of her paper is Reshaping the Muslim Identity in the Colonial Era in Bapsi Sidhwa's The Pakistani Bride. So I welcome Shamim Banu for to present her paper. So let her welcome for the presentation. Please present your paper. Is Shamim Banu here? Shamim Banu.
Yeah, I think he's not here.
So it's better to go with the next.
Hello, sir. Shamem Banu is no there, but I am before him, sir.
Okay. Uh,
Yes, your paper will take last of the session.
last,
Okay, you
last of
just
the
wait
session.
for.
And and MD Mohsin, and if you could actually come out of the noisy zone, and because and your background is full of noise. So when make sure that and when you will be presenting paper and after the end of the session, and you should be in a location and there the background noise is not there. So and for this fourth session, the next presenter The next paper is
Yeah,
Legacy of.
I think she joined. She joined just.
She has joined. Uh, uh,
Yeah, I think
Hello,
she just joined.
uh,
Yes,
Shamim Banu is there.
yes, yes, I'm there.
Is
I'm here only. It's because of
actually
internet.
I have. Okay, no problem. No problem. We just catch you now. So we have already introduced you and your paper. So we are welcoming you to present. Please present
Yes, thank you so much.
your
Yes,
paper.
thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, actually, I have my PPT. Shall I present with the PPT now?
Yeah, you can if there is option for sharing
Yes,
PPT.
but I'm not
Then
unable to click that option share screen. It's not, you are not allowed to share your screen at the moment.
whoever is in the admin of this and group this session this Google Meet, and can you just enable it, or is there any option?
That's what I have. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, she can present now.
You got it? Okay, 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 okay.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it's very much visible.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, I'm J. Shamem, PhD research scholar in Alapa University. And as you have mentioned me, I'm moving on to the presentation. Is my voice audible?
Yes, it is pretty much well.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, this paper demonstrates the experience of resilience and oppression of the Muslim protagonist Zaitun in the Pakistani Bride. It was written by Bapsi Sidhwa. Aim of the present paper uh, the aim of the present paper is to demonstrate the multiple dimensions of domestic violence against women, to control the lives of women, to dominate in the society, especially in patriarchal society, which are presented in the Pakistani Bride by Bapsi Sidhwa. She is also a Pakistani novelist. And moving on to the highlights of the hidden negative effect of marriage on women lives and domestic violence. When it comes to the domestic violence, it provides in all over the world. It has always been a long-standing constraint in the progress and prosperity of women for a long time. So Sidhwa, as an author, endeavors to demonstrate all the aspects of violence in the marriage, to bring the hidden negatives of marriage on women lives on the surface. Is my voice audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, okay. And as a researcher, I'm moving on to the main focus of the novel. An attempt has been made in this paper to present all the social codes and tools used by men to control women through the so-called sacred institution of marriage for centuries. And the researcher has do some analysis about the status of women in the Pakistani Bride. And now I'm moving on to the status of women. 1 minute. So Bapsi Sidhwa
Go-
has been known as a post-colonial feminist author who addresses effectively the issues of cultural difference and the place of women in Pakistani and Indian society. Critics have noted that Pakistani Bride, for its investigation of cultural struggle and strong characterization, and as a author, Sidhwa is a feminist as well as a realist. But Sidhwa, as a novelist, talks of liberation of women, and she struggles for the liberation of women. All her novels are gynocritic, but her second published novel, The Pakistani Bride, based on a real life story, is an exclusive prize to women's enthusiasm for life, their ability, and their courage. They are women are denied an influential voice, both in national issues and those which concern the power over their everyday lives. Sidhwa's female characters in the Pakistani Bride, as in all her other novels, are as strong, if not stronger, than the men. And Qasim is one of the character in Pakistani Bride. He arranges Zaitun's marriage to the tribal man. It is Miriam is one among the characters in Pakistani Bride. She brings the contrast and points out how Qasim himself has changed. And they have mentioned that the author has mentioned in the novel, Zaitun is the main protagonist in this story. Um, and as I have mentioned earlier, the author has also talked about the liberation of women because they are denied an influential voice both in national issues and those which the concern the power over their everyday lives. So the author has mentioned in page number 93 to 94 that uh, they treated women as savages, brutish, uncouth, and ignorant. Most of them are bandits. They don't know how to treat women. This quote is from Pakistani Bride, and this is the author Bapsi Sidhwa. And Sidhwa showcases the life of different generation women in this novel. This Zaitun's marriage, she married to a tribal man. Her struggle is a struggle of man against nature. But another level is it is also the struggle of women against both man and nature. And whereas Zaitun, as I have mentioned earlier, Zaitun is brought up in liberal ways of life, but she is married to a tribal man in Lahore. She is educated and really belongs to the plains. She begins the journey of Zaitun and into the unknown romantic mountains, into the civilization completely different from the one in which she is born and brought up. It was a very struggle for Zaitun because she was brought up in the very well mannered place and but civilized place especially, but she after her marriage she moves to the tribal place, so she struggles a lot. And so So the novel revolves around the lives of women in the male-dominated society and how they are not given their basic rights. It shows the difficult life a woman has passed through, whether it be American educated women or illiterate Pakistani women. They treated everyone as a equal in that in the Pakistani novel because there was a one character, Carol. She was a American, but what happened is that she also faced the same kind of struggle Zaitun has faced. And the central focus when the novelist introduces as to the inner world of the mountain life, especially to the life of tribal women. Is my voice audible, sir?
Yes, I'm listening to you.
Yes. Okay. 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 Thank you so much. Thank you. So the stories bring into the focus the violence, degradation, and oppression faced by women in this male-dominated society. Uh, Women are shown as a territory to be conquered by men. The relationship becomes one of the colonized, wherein the colonizer as a form. They have some powers to occupy the territory. So in the post-colonial era, the author has tried a lot to reshape the identity, Muslim identity in the colonial era.
So,
And okay, so
would you like to conclude?
yes, yes, I'm going to conclude now.
Uh,
So the Pakistani Bride is the first novel to be written by Bapsi Sidhwa, but it was published after the Crow Eaters. Sidhwa comes from a Parsi Muslim business family. Bapsi Sidhwa's works have stimulated a variety of responses. So, as a conclusion, an attempt has been made in this paper to present all the social codes and tools used by men to control women through the so-called sacred institution of marriage for centuries. So, the researcher as well as the author has tried to reshape the Muslim identity in the colonial era, and Zaitun there are many Zaituns in this world. So because through this conference it might change. Yes, that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Yes,
And
thank you.
it's a very delightful time to listen to you.
Yes, thank you
As
so
you
much.
have as you have represented as well as highlighted the women voice, and especially from the colonial period and through a novel written by Bapsi Sidhwa, a
Yes,
Pakistani bride. So
yes,
there
thank
you uh, try to highlight that how women are being in control and with through the force of with by the subjugation of patriarchy. So, and
Yes,
in a
yes,
way, so we also try to the contemporary means and colonial periods,
yes, yes,
Islamic Muslim status, especially the women status inside the patriarchal
yes,
society. It's a very good paper. So please wait until the session is over. After the one participant, and we will have question answer session. So other participant may ask you questions regarding your paper, and I may also have some query and regarding your paper. So please wait for the session until we finish this the last presenter. So okay. So next presenter is uh, the title of the next paper is Legacy of Bengali Muslim Educational Reform. Legacy of Bengali Muslim Educational Reform. It is written by Faiz Rizwan and Ankush Pal. Both are from Jamia Millia Islamia University. So maybe any one of them are going to present. Any one of them is going to present the
yes.
paper. So whoever is present here, either uh, Ankush or Rizwan, please and present.
Yes, thank you.
Am I audible?
Who is there? Yes, you are audible, Ankush.
Right. So the thing is, the both of us would like to present in parts. As in some parts I would go for, and then Faiza can present some.
Both of you. It's a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good. Okay.
Okay, right. So hi, I'm Ankush. I'm a final year student of sociology at Jamia Millia Islamia, and the title of our paper is Legacy of Bengali Muslim Educational Reform. I would like to invite Faiza to introduce
Am I audible?
herself.
Okay, so good
Yes.
evening. I'm Faiza Rizwan. I'm also a final year student of sociology in
Yes,
Jamia Millia Islamia, and we would like to start our paper. So
yes, sir.
Ankush will be starting with the.
Right. Um,
Okay. Go ahead.
Right. So, first of all, we talk about how the historical process of Islamization is distinctively different from conversion, because the which Richard Eaton talks about how conversion has a missionary undertone,
Okay, sir.
and the process of Islamization has also resulted in the world's greatest number of Muslims residing east of Karachi. Um, so, right, and the most dramatic conversion of the population is has been in Eastern Bengal, which is modern day Bangladesh, and Western Punjab, which is modern day Pakistan. So, in this context, we're focusing on one of the quote unquote fringes of the Indo-Muslim rule, which is Eastern Bengal. Right. So, we talk about how education was, let's say, I mean, education in the sense was there was a drastic shift, particularly during the colonial era. So the term, so we discussed how there was an ascent of the Bhadraloks, which was simultaneously going along with the decline of the Ashrafs. So the Bhadralok is essentially a term which, at least in colonial Bengal, defines the upper caste Hindus, because and it's not necessarily a group of people who are well respected, because we refer to Muhammad Shah's book In Search of an Identity, where he talks about how upper caste Hindus ensured that the term Bhadralok referred not only to the that it was that lower caste Hindus as well as Muslims were not allowed to use the term. The title was reserved for themselves, as if it only they were entitled to respect. So on the other hand, there was the Muslim counterpart group, which was termed as Ashrafs. So the Ashrafs would often trace their descent from the Muslim official elites such as Jagirdars and Mansabdars. So while the Hindu community was provided leadership by the Bhadraloks, the Ashraf who insisted on Urdu and Persian provided leadership to the Muslim group, to the Muslims. And the Ashrafs ensured that they generally distance themselves from the Bengali speaking Muslims. Right. So um, I would invite Faiza to talk about the part after this.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
So in the later half of the paper, we basically talk about the decline of the ashrafs, which was there due to several reasons. So one of them was the replacing of Persian and official as an official language. So ashrafs, upper Muslims were a bit reluctant towards other languages, as Persian held a sense of esteem between the society, among the societies. So they were.
Uh, Excuse me, Faiza, you are not audible for it.
Hello.
Uh, Please
Yeah.
start
So
again.
yeah,
You
yeah.
are not. You are not. You are not audible for a while. Means maybe one half minute or.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So, due to the replacement of Persian as an official language, the Muslims failed to take advantage of the educational reforms, and on the other hand, the Hindu counterpart, uh, they were.
Mm, you are not audible.
I think there's a network issue. So is it okay if I speak?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. It is better if you speak.
Okay. Right. So as Faiza was basically talking about where I left off, that there were two primary reasons. I mean, there were other reasons why the Ashrafs saw severe declines from the 1830s onwards. One of them was the introduction of the Permanent Settlement Act, which chipped away at the economic backing that some of the Muslims had, and English taking over as the official language instead of Persian. So English became the standard which the Mohammedans failed to take advantage of, as written about by Farquhar. So there was tremendous change in Hindus and Muslims, that the foremost, which is the Hindus, while they rose in knowledge, wealth, and position, the Muslims started to decline. So there was a very inverse relationship in this particular period, right? So there was an initial reluctance of Bengali Muslims to be associated with the colonizers, which sort of became an hindrance from them attaining higher social status in colonial Bengal. Right. So the Muslim nobility, as we discussed, was disconnected from the Bengali-speaking Muslim population, and the Hindu majority, which was displaced from the Muslim rule, they clearly welcomed the British. They found it more accessible to accept English due to the perceived change in quote-unquote mastards. So Lord Hardinge issued a circular in 1844, which basically said that anyone who had an education in English would be preferred for government jobs. So the Hindu community youths who had received education in English from English and missionary schools, they ended up in government services. The Muslims were hence deprived of the government services. However, it is also to be noted that while the Muslim, quote unquote, Muslim middle class did end up accessing English later on, the Hindu Bhadraloks who had already secured some sort of a position in the government jobs, they were reluctant to make space for them. Um, Right. So there was a resolution on Muslim education introduced in 1871. It was passed in 1871, which basically started building new royalties, right? So, so this loyalty was not just threat from rural Bengal, but also nationalistic Hindu Bhadrala who were challenging the existing social and political order. So this British interest, which peaked in Muslim education, was not necessarily for upliftment of the Muslims and to bring them at equal counterparts with their Hindu counterparts, but to gain support from the upper class Muslim group, so that they could be turned into quote unquote potential allies against the rising nationalism of the Bhadraloks. This can be corroborated by the case of Sayyid Ahmad Khan, who had three fundamental goals behind bringing English education to the Muslims. One of which, according to Arshad Alam, is to breed loyalty to the British Empire. So Sayyid Ahmad Khan was very clear that Muslims need to know that their future lied in cooperating with the British rather than opposing them, and how English education was supposed to inculcate within Muslims a sense of loyalty to the British Empire. Um, which is also the reason why perhaps Mao College ended up getting this sort of supported date from the British colonial government. So later on, there were a lot of Bengali Muslims who took to English education, and some of them worked for the betterment of Muslims. So if we have to look at Muslims so for example, Dilawar Hussain was the first um, Muslim graduate from the University of Calcutta. Then if we talk about Nawab Abdul Latif Khan, he was one of the first few people who took classes in the Department of English in the Calcutta Madrasa, prior to which the department would, not really attract students because there was a fear that it would that attaining an education in English would sort of bring you closer to Christianity and you would turn your back on faith. Right. So there's a book by Lord Hewell Thurlow where records. It's called The Company and the Crowd. So basically, it talks about the opposition Abdul Latif faced while trying to emancipate Muslims, and he faced opposition from everywhere. So Abdul Latif tried to build a cordial relation between the Muslims and the English. And if you look at other people, we also have to look at Begum Rokeya. So Begum Rokeya was particularly focused on the education of women. So she was an idealist, and she saw that women, particularly in the Bengali Muslim community, did not really have an access due to patriarchal dominance. So she saw that education could provide that key to freedom. So right. So basically, what she did is she founded the Shekhawat Memorial Girls School, and a lot of it came across. So she ran the school for about 20 to 20, about 24 years, which even while during which she faced criticisms. A similar feat can be seen in Maharashtra when Savitribai Phule ran a school for women amongst fierce criticism. So initially, the non-Bengali families would send their girls to Shekhawat Memorial Girls School, but and then the Bengali Muslim families are indifferent about girls' education. So Begum Rokeya came forward and took the initiative of persuading Bengali Muslim families. She didn't just sit back. And she had a door-to-door campaign where she went around in every Bengali Muslim household, not every, but most of them, and she convinced the family and the parents particularly that parda would be observed at the school. So she arranged a horse-drawn carriage so that the girls could go to school and return while observing parda. Eventually, she offered a free bus service, right? So what was very peculiar about the bus service was that it was instructed that the shutters was fitted to the windows of the bus so that parda could be um, observed. However, there was also this problem that a lot of the girls were fainting inside the buses because there was not really much ventilation once you place shutters. So she replaced them with curtains. Next, if we have to name another figure which you also mentioned in the abstract is um, Khan Bahadur Ehsanullah. So Khan Bahadur Ehsanullah was, he was actually he introduced that you would write students' roll numbers instead of names. So because he believed that opening your identity up can also result in there some sort of bias being there. So he elevated the standard of education in madrasa and secondary madrasa classes. Um, so he ensured that Urdu received much prominence, and he also introduced an independent educational curriculum for the Muktab students, right? So that Muslim students could read books by Muslim scholars, so that there was not really an erosion of Muslim culture. So there was also the new scheme Madrasa, which basically ensured that the education in English was offered side by side in Arabic. So Arabic, under his guidance, was also consolidated as it received the consolidation of the status of quote unquote the second language in high schools. He also founded, as a personal initiative, he founded specialized schools and colleges for female Muslim students. Um, so they also received attention and they were not left behind. He also had active contribution while forming the Dhaka University. So of course there was a major hue and cry when the draft bill on Dhaka University was placed before the Senate. So the Dhaka University actually being established was a good thing because the Calcutta University was primarily dominated by the upper class Hindu groups, and the Dhaka University gave fierce competition to it. That there was now a space for Muslim students as well. So since this is the working paper, we are still sort of trying to figure out where we end and where we actually take this forward, which is why Faiza and I are open to any and all comments and suggestions. And I think that would be it. Thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you so much, and for presenting such a insightful as well as very informative. And it is a kind of out of the box paper, and when you have a graph the educational reformation in Muslims, especially in Bengali Muslims, about Bengali Muslims. So you basically and talk about and how after the advent of an colonial era and up to the especially English education system, and how Muslims uh, disassociate themselves and from taking the opportunity of modern education or what you call English education brought by the Britishers, and due to this, Muslims eventually and fall back from the government job, and that vacuum already filled by upper caste Hindus, and who have already got the educations, the English educations. So, and it's a very interesting paper. So now it is the end of the session. And please be here. So I will then go one by one, and it is a question answer session. So in the question answer session, and we can have suggestion as well as question. So now first and begin with the first presenter, Hilal Ahmed. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Am I
please be
audible, sir?
there. So yes, you are audible. So I am requesting all the participants, if you have any questions or any queries and regarding his and presentation, the title of his and presentation is Empowered Voice, the Freedom Struggle of Muslim Women in Colonial Bengal. If you have any, I have one question. So I will let other first and then I will ask. So I guess, and there is no questions coming from. So I have one queries, and Hilal, Hilal, you have pointed a very sensitive topic about Muslim women, and you showed and how Muslim women also participated in nation building, leadership, and in a way, and they also shows some kind of nationalism. So, but
Yes, sir.
in the abstract, you have mentioned that they are not only facing the issues and from the colonizer, but they are also facing issues and gender-related issues from
Yes, sir.
inside the community. Inside the community. So you actually, I guess, and you didn't have been given much focus on this. And can you explain in a very few words, since how actually Muslim women also faced some uh, actually adverse situation kind of mm, subjugation and from inside the community
Yes, sir.
uh,
Sure, sir.
because of the gender.
Sir, if we talk about the Ruqayya Sakha Hussain or Sophia, mother, Ruqayya was one of the most outstanding Muslim, Muslim role model of Bengal women during the early decade of 20th century. During her time, there was a several writing which reflected the separate tendency as they were influenced by the contemporary Muslim separatist political in Bengal. Ruqayya Hussain was politically conscious, but she did not engage herself in what we can say politics directly, but she inspired the women to join the Sudeshi movement and some other women, Bengali women like Shamsunisa and many more.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
So actually, yeah, you explained it, but my question is a little different. And how and these Muslim women, especially, and facing problems and kind of a subjugation inside the community in terms of their gender. So, and you may look forward this and for your future reference, and you can for your future study also, if you have in a
Sure,
not
sure,
if you have not any appropriate answer now. So you can
sure,
also
sure.
explore this that and how especially Muslim women and who are in the
Yes, sir.
leadership, and they don't only face and subjugation and from the colonizer, but inside the community, and they may face and some kind of a problem just because of their gender role.
Sure, sir.
So
Sure, sir. I will mention the suggestion. I will
okay,
actually focus on these
okay,
points.
okay. Thank you. So the next one is the next presenter is uh, Shamim Banu.
Yes, I am here, sir.
So I'm requesting all the participants if you have any question for her presentation, for her paper or queries. I guess and there is no such queries and for you for your
Okay,
paper.
sir.
So
Okay.
okay, okay. So I proceed to Ankush Pal. Ankush Pal is there.
Yes, thank you
Yes,
so
we
much.
do.
Thank you, ma'am. Ankush Pal is there.
Yes. The both of us are
Please
here.
unmute yourself. Uh, Actually, I have actually personal query for you because when you presented such informative papers, and it's kind of a new thing for me also. So I have queries like that on how you actually define, and you have mentioned one point that this, and there is a class and that we call Vadralum. So the Muslims, because of their status of being Muslims, or what you call low born, so and they can't associate themselves as a Vadralok, and as well as the lower caste people. And you have and pointed out one very important thing is that how this colonial agenda of giving education to Muslims, not just because for the upliftment, because of upliftment, but just to uh, kind of having uh, getting in some kind of ease and from them to being functioned in their colonial rule, as well as how and they can also this, and my question is that how this well taught Muslims, especially this from colonial era, how they associated themselves with this and Bhadrulok group. Do you have any knowledge about that?
So we are currently trying to figure that out because most of what we found about the upper class Muslims and the British being on good terms is essentially based on Sayyid Ahmed Khan, right? Because I mean this is not relevant to this paper, but what we found so far was how Sayyid Ahmed Khan, for example, clearly made it an entire thing that the Muslim students should not join the International Congress. They should not speak against the British. That and he actually hoped that by having access to an English medium education, that there would be loyalty to the British. I mean, of course, we see that things didn't really go as far as he wished in the context of let's say Aligarh, because students from Aligarh ended up founding Jamia Millia Islamia, this university I go to, as a response to the colonial government. So we are not sure about it yet, but I think if you receive any sort of assistance in that context from the British colonial government, then it was indirectly understood that you have to be under their purview, which is why the Hunter Commission looked at Syed Ahmad with such a good lens, and why they were so I mean that they were actually very eager to fund Mao, which eventually came up to be known as Aligarh Muslim University. So we are currently looking at similar cases in Bengal, for which we have to go through a lot of vernacular sources in Bangla. There's not much on it in English.
Okay, actually, I got the point. So I am not much explored in this topic in that you explored. So it's very good to know you and all other representatives here. So this is the end of the sessions. And thank you, every presenter, all the presenters, and we have got you and within such a good paper. And everyone, Ankush, Faiz, Samima, and Hilal. So now now I'm handing over this session. So thank you, Hassan Dabuk and Abu Shalida and the whole base community for inviting me for chairing this session.
Thank you. Uh, with sincere gratitude to our participants and the session chair, Washim Sajjad, we conclude the session 4 and looking forward to the continued success of this conference. So please give me a time to stop the recording, and we kindly request your patience as we wait for our chair and the speaker for the session 5, as they are not yet joined. So please wait for some time.